Hey everyone, what's going on? Ash here from MEOdyssey, and today I'll be bringing you some more bits of Mass Effect Andromeda news. As we all know, news on Andromeda has been sparse to say the least, but as N7 Day is now less than 2 weeks away, we want to make sure that we cover as many bases as humanly possible so you'll all know what's going on and you're as up to date as possible heading into N7 Day. So firstly, it's to Twitter for our regular tweet watch, and a few things have come to light. To start with, anyone wondering if Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be on the newly announced Nintendo Switch console is likely to be facing some disappointment. While it was confirmed that EA would be one of the third-party companies that are supporting Nintendo's latest console, it seems a tweet from Mike Gamble in response to a question has quickly halted any expectations of the newest installment of the Mass Effect franchise appearing on the new Nintendo console, at least for now. Looking at a tweet that followed on from this, it hasn't been completely ruled out, with Mike Gamble saying that for now the plan is to release on PC, Xbox One and PS4 for Mass Effect Andromeda, and that is what they are focusing on for now. Not a huge surprise, but for Nintendo fans who would be eager for a release on Switch, will likely have to wait for a while yet. Moving on to some more tweets from devs, and this time they have some very cool new dev team shirts, which they have proudly been showing off on their respective Twitter accounts. We first saw the shirt from Joss Hendricks, and on the 25th of October 2016, we saw two more of the devs showing off their cool new shirts. What we see is that it confirms that the Andromeda Initiative seems to be the main name for the group heading to Andromeda, and it also seems to indicate that the Tempest, seen front and centre on the shirt, is a part of the Andromeda Initiative. It also has badges on the sleeves, one sleeve saying Pathfinder, and although not seen in any of the pictures, it apparently says BioWare on the other. The Pathfinder badge on the right sleeve brings up something that has popped into the forums and in various places online since the AI symbol started to appear, and this is that there are two factions heading to the Andromeda Galaxy. This Andromeda Initiative and the Pathfinder Initiative, which had more dev shirts being circulated online back around the time that Andromeda was first announced. But there are also an equal number of people saying that the Andromeda Initiative is just the Pathfinder Initiative with a new name, which is just as likely as things tend to change throughout development as it continues on the game. And normally, dev shirts are normally just that, shirts for the devs to have a bit of fun and bring the team together as the game nears release. But Blair Brown, a dev at BioWare, couldn't help but tease with a tweet saying, "Dev shirts don't normally follow canon, but," before leaving a cryptic final tweet along the lines of, "You'll just have to wait and see at launch." So even when it's just showing off cool new shirts, BioWare devs still can't help but tease us. Also, I wouldn't expect these shirts to turn up anywhere on the BioWare store, as cool as they are and as much as I want one, seems that they are purely dev team shirts only. Moving on to our last bit of news, and we have to give Dommy P credit here for pointing us in the right direction. Dommy linked us to an interview Mac Walters did with Red Bull. This was put up on the Red Bull site around a week ago, and it gives a little more insight into certain story aspects, albeit small story aspects, and one in particular that most of us may have been wrong about for a while. And we'll give fair warning here, although we don't consider any of the following details spoilers, if you're looking to avoid all story aspects until the game releases, best to stop watching now. So Mac's first quote says, "You don't start as a hero, ready to face whatever lies ahead. You start as a fairly ordinary person, sure with some military training, but still a lot to learn." This clearly refers to the BioWare moving away from the Shepard style of character, whereas they're already a hero as the original trilogy began, and starting you off this time as a normal character who will possibly make their mark and slowly progress to a hero status as the game moves along. Mac goes on to say, "You are not a natural born leader, more a fish out of water. You start as a Pathfinder, and that's a totally different story." The article confirms that a Pathfinder is not first and foremost a military unit, and likens them more to astronauts. It goes on to say that the design of the Pathfinder spacesuit looks more like something that NASA would design, and that this design was intentional. Mac says that suits look more friendly by design, hopefully meaning that when we meet a new race, they'll see lighter colours as more friendly and less aggressive. Mac continues by saying, "We want to wow you again and build alien worlds that you want to spend time in, not just for combat, but for exploration. For me," which is talking about Mac, "personally, it's not just about writing an interesting hook for a character, but putting her or him in interesting circumstances and seeing how they react to it." Now, a few minutes ago I mentioned that there was one detail that we may have assumed wrong the entire time that we've known of the N7 guy, Daddy Ryder, and it seems that Daddy Ryder may not be the slightly darker, possibly evil character that a lot of us had thought. There is mention in this article that Daddy Ryder could show up and save son or daughter, or both, during the campaign. An interesting point considering you see the N7 guy do things like this. It's hard not to think that he may have a bad streak, but on the flip side of that, what father wouldn't want to protect their children? Maybe he's not quite as bad as we thought, maybe just doing what it takes to find and save his children. Mac rounded out the interview by saying, "We want you to enjoy spending time in these worlds. Andromeda is not just about planet hopping from one combat area to the next, but real and meaningful exploration. We want to wake up this little scientist and diplomat in you that is interested in getting to know these races, how their societies operate, and how their tech works." The interview rounds off with some talk of HDR and the 4K tech demo, but we think you'll agree that while not huge amounts of information, some interesting details on Daddy Ryder, on how certain interactions will present you in the eyes of a new race on their planet, and other little bits too. So what do you guys think on these little pieces of info? Has your view of Daddy Ryder changed? And are you looking forward to meeting new races and taking a more diplomatic approach and learning about them rather than running all guns blazing? Be sure to let us know down in the comments below. As always, you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all things Mass Effect, and you can help the channel to grow by sharing the video too. Thanks for watching, we'll see you again very soon.